I think it's time that we redefine the word monk.
Yeah, I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. These are some ideas from Osho's book, The Book of Man, and I'm speaking specifically about the archetype of the monk. Now, I'm a part of a tribe called IMC Nation, where we are warrior monks. Now, we're not the monk that you think we are. We're not renouncing all of our earthly desires, okay? But we are disciplined, and we do have rituals, and we do follow a set of codes, a kind of militant attitude to life where we become stoic warrior monks, right? So stoicism is a very vital philosophy and part of this process. Essentially, you know what? We've been told in different religions to renounce your wife, to renounce your children, renounce the world, to reduce certain comfort. Basically, get rid of everything that makes your life a joy. Then and only then can you be saved. Osho says that is not religion, that is suicide. That they have turned a gang of people into suicidal people. Now, you don't have to agree with this notion, but hear me out. Because the moment that love dies, he says, many other things also die within you. A man whose love is dead is incapable of seeing beauty in a painting. Now, these are all words from Osho's Book of Man. So I want you to understand this. If he cannot see beauty in a human face, if he cannot see beauty in the ultimate expression of existence, what can he see on a canvas? Just a few colors. He cannot see beauty in it. It's not the painting that is beautiful, it's the eyes which is perceiving the painting that sees beauty in it. So being able to appreciate and cherish and see the beauty around in life is such a fundamental thing that makes us human beings, that makes us expressive creatures and not robotic. I think it taps into the very core of our humanity when we are tapping into art. He whose love is dead cannot compose poetry, because without love, his poetry is simply juiceless. It won't have life in it. It will be a simple gymnastic of words without any spirit behind it. It will be a corpse of poetry, but not poetry. A man who cannot love cannot be creative in any sense. The so-called celibate saints and monks have not contributed anything to human wisdom, intelligence, beauty, richness, music, dance. Not in any dimension has your celibate monks and nuns have been contributors. They've been a burden on earth. Osho is a very, very controversial character, okay? And I agree, this is a very, very controversial opinion. But I would like to agree with him in the notion that, where he says, life arises out of sex and life consists of sex. You can grow your sex to such a refinement that it can become love, it can become compassion. But if you block the very energy of sex by celibacy, you've destroyed all possibilities of your growth. You are now moving towards death. If sex is life, then celibacy is death. This is simple logic. So this is saying that celibacy is unnatural, it's going against biology, against physiology, against your hormones. Now, I agree and disagree with this statement in the sense where you can preserve your seed in a sense and you can become a lot more powerful. I agree. When you're not controlled by your certain desires. But I think what he's saying is there's also a benefit in it. So I think it's important to notice both worlds, right? And remember that the body's autonomous. It doesn't work on your orders. It has its own program and it works accordingly to that program. So I think it's really important for us to redefine this archetype, specifically not so that we start to chastise people and just be like, listen, this is wrong, this is bad, this is negative, this is sinful. And instead notice that, hey, we can be monks and also make love and also be in love with life, right? Be multidimensional in the sense of we're not cutting off our own circulation to our own vitality, right? So I think that to be able to redefine this idea that it has to be this cutting off of all desire, you see, whatever we resist will persist, right? So if you're saying I'm going to cut off all desire, that's still a desire to cut off all desire. So you can't escape that rabbit hole. So I want you to really start to understand, if you're moving into this monkhood or this mentality of monkhood, you just basically want to enter this frame of, I'm seeing the world, but I'm seeing it in a sacred way. So even the act of lovemaking is a sacred act. It's not a rushed act, right? The act of sex is a religious experience rather than a rushed experience. Or the act of even working out is not a rushed experience. It is a religious experience. And this is what the whole IMC philosophy is trying to create, is that ability for you to create your own religion through the process of you figuring out who you are through your own self-awareness and your own self-discipline, to create a model where it's sustainable to you. And it's also a process of integration. I had the great honor of moving into phase 2 of the BEAST process, or the AZD process, and right now I'm just experiencing life in a very new way. And this was one of those little elements that I wanted to share with you guys, because I think it's a crucial shift in consciousness when we're truly able to be all accepting and not start to have this intense taboo and shame towards this topic of sex. Now, even you notice YouTube or Instagram censoring the word itself. So I think it's very, very crucial that we start to take the power back and be understanding of the fact that we don't need to repress our emotions so much, but we can express it, and we can own up to our own desires and understand what is there to explore in these very, very lower basal realms. And when we start to bring them up and start to live through the heart as the monk who also makes love, but also makes love with the world, meaning that they are in love with life and they bring that vitality with them, and they're not just, sitting and being very passive, but that they're being of service. Through their monkhood, they're being of service to others. It's not so much about being, and I agree, sitting in compassion and sending compassion to others around you and being completely clean, right, pure internally, does impact others around you for sure. However, at the same time, I think it's also impactful to do good deeds out into the world and start to merge with society, so there's not this disconnect of, hey, look at me, I'm wearing these robes and I'm cutting myself off from the rest of society, right? Now, I want to say this with the utmost respect as possible, because my father is a Buddhist and he's been practicing and learning from monks and their disciples for years and years. So I want to say this with the utmost respect, but again, the world is transforming, the world is changing. We've got to understand how to adapt with the times. And I think if we can get those traditions that were in the past and embody them in the present, we can be living traditions. We can embody our philosophy. Instead of just talking about it, we can start living it. And I think it's really important that we redefine the word monk, not just to mean a Christian monk who is celibate, but instead a monk who is full of vitality, full of life, and making love at the same time, maintaining composure, having boundaries, having a solid set of code and ethics, being able to bring the word back, right? Example AZD gave is like Tupac brought the word thug into the world. He's not a gangster, he's a thug. He's still respected by gangsters, but he's a thug, right? So in the same way, AZD is taking this word monk and being able to say, I'm a monk. Instead, I've taken the word Jedi and I've reclaimed the word Jedi, right? I've reclaimed and redefined the word Jedi to mean somebody who is a protector of the galaxy and of the light, and being able to use the force, or the flow state in this case, to be able to actually change and shift consciousness in others and be able to fight the darkness, right? Fight the Sith, fight the darkness of the world. So words are just words. It's a label, but it's what we choose to do with that label, right? You can be a personal trainer, but what does that mean to you? You've got to redefine the word and what it means for you, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Ruminate on it. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. See you next time.